In the endless savanna of Kalindi, where tall grass swayed under the hot African sun, the lioness Nala and her little lion cub Simba wandered along a dusty path. Nala, proud and strong, walked ahead, her golden eyes scanning the horizon intently. Simba, still clumsy, with fluffy fur and a curious gaze, trotted behind her, constantly trying to catch a butterfly or kick a pebble. The savannah was their home, full of life and danger. But on this day, everything seemed calm. Suddenly, the silence was broken by the roar of an engine. An old pickup truck came flying over the hill at high speed, kicking up clouds of dust. Nala froze, her ears pricked up, but the car was going too fast. There was a deafening crash. Nala collapsed to the ground, her body motionless on the hot trail. Simba, thrown to the side, whimpered pitifully. His little paws trembled as he crawled toward his mother, poking her side with his nose, trying to wake her up. But Nala did not move. Her breathing had stopped. The driver of the pickup truck, a young man with a frightened look on his face, jumped out of the car. Seeing the lioness lying on the ground and the crying lion cub, he turned pale. Without saying a word, he jumped back into the cab and sped away, leaving only a cloud of dust behind him. Simba, clinging to his mother's body, sobbed, his thin roar echoing across the savannah. A cold evening wind swept across the plain, and everything fell silent except for the mournful cries of the lone lion cub. In the distance, a black SUV slowly made its way along a winding path. At the wheel was Musa Kamau, a 40-year-old local farmer who lived on the edge of the savannah. His sunburnt face wore a pensive expression. The sun's rays filtered through the acacia trees, casting patches of light on his dark shirt. Musa loved these trips through Kalindi. They gave him time to think about life, his family, and the future. When he turned around another hill, his gaze fell on something strange on the road. He slowed down and stopped the car. Opening the door, Musa stepped outside and froze. In front of him lay a dead lioness, her fur stained with blood, and next to her, burrowed into her side, a small lion cub trembled. Its eyes, filled with despair, glistened with tears. Simba let out a weak, plaintive roar as he looked at the stranger. Musa took a step back, his heart pounding. Lions were part of the savannah, but seeing this was beyond his strength. He tried to get closer, but stopped, afraid of scaring the cub away. After checking Nala's breathing, Musa realized she was dead. He took out his phone to call the rangers, but there was no signal in this part of the savannah. Sighing, he decided to return home and call for help from there. But as he took a step toward the car, Musa heard a rustle. Turning around, he saw the lion cub staggering after him. Simba stopped at his feet, pressed himself against them, and made a quiet, pleading sound. Musa froze, not believing his eyes. The lion cub rubbed against his leg as if seeking protection. Musa bent down to push him away, but Simba's gaze, full of pain and hope, made his heart ache. "Little one, your mother," Musa whispered, gently placing his hand on the cub's head. Simba did not move, pressing himself even closer, as if Musa were his last hope. After a moment's hesitation, Musa made up his mind. He took a deep breath, picked up the lion cub and said quietly, "Come on, little one. You can't stay here." He opened the car door and carefully placed Simba in the front seat. The lion cub curled up into a ball, his gaze still fixed on where Nala lay. Musa looked in the rearview mirror, his heart sinking at the sight of the dead lioness, left on the trail. The SUV pulled away, and the savannah was once again enveloped in silence. Musa drove in silence, occasionally glancing at the lion cub. Simba, exhausted by grief, fell asleep on the seat, his small body trembling in his sleep. When he reached his farm, Musa carefully carried the lion cub into the house and laid him on an old rug by the fireplace. His wife, Amina, gasped when she saw her husband with the tiny lion in his arms. "Musa, what is this? What happened?" Musa told her the whole story, about the lioness that had been hit, about the crying lion cub, about his pleading eyes. Amina listened, looked at the sleeping Simba, and nodded. "We can't abandon him," she said quietly. "We'll take care of him until we find a solution." Musa contacted the local rangers and told them what had happened. They promised to pass the information on to the Kilindi Wildlife Rescue Center and asked him to wait. Meanwhile, the Kamau family surrounded the lion cub with care. Amina found an old feeding bottle, and Musa fed Simba warm milk. The lion cub drank greedily, his little whiskers trembling with pleasure. Neighborhood children began to visit the farm. At first, they were afraid of Simba, but soon they fell in love with him for his playfulness and soft fur. They named the lion cub Simba, after the legendary lion from the stories told by the elders. Amina sewed a small blanket for Simba, so that he would not be cold at night. Every morning, Musa led him out into the yard, where Simba ran around with the children, chasing a ball or rolling around on the grass. Simba came to life. His eyes, which had recently been full of sorrow, began to sparkle with mischief. He stole Musa's sandals, dragging them around the house, and hid under the table, making Amina laugh. In the evenings, he curled up by the fireplace, falling asleep in Musa's arms like a child. Musa looked at the sleeping lion cub, and his heart filled with warmth. But deep down he knew that this house was only a temporary refuge. As the days passed, Simba filled the Kamau household with laughter and joy. However, Musa could not shake the feeling that the lion cub did not belong in their world. Every morning, when he heard the phone ring, he would flinch, fearing that it was the rangers informing him that Simba had to be taken away. And that day came. A ranger named Joseph called and asked for a meeting. The next morning, a jeep pulled up to the house, and two rangers, Joseph and a young woman named Layla, entered the house. They thanked Musa and Amina for taking care of Simba and told them about his future. The cub was to be taken to the Kilindi Rescue Center, where he would undergo a medical examination and be prepared for life in the wild. Musa nodded, his eyes filled with sadness, but he understood that this was the best path for Simba. When the rangers entered, Simba, who was playing with a ball, became alert and hid behind Musa's legs. Layla crouched down, reaching out her hand, and smiled gently. Simba hesitated, then approached, sniffed her palm and nudged it lightly with his head. "He's used to people, which is good," Joseph said. "He's not afraid, but he's still cautious." Amina served tea and the conversation turned to how Simba would live from now on. The rangers explained that at the center he would be taught how to hunt and survive so that he could return to the savannah. Musa and Amina listened, holding hands, knowing that saying goodbye was inevitable. The next day, the Kamau family and the rangers took Simba to the rescue center. The sun was setting, bathing the savannah in golden light. Simba, sitting in the back seat, looked confused, his gaze darting from side to side. Musa, sitting next to him, stroked his head, trying to calm him down. In the center of Simba, they took him out of the car. He looked around, his ears twitching at the new sounds. Musa knelt down, hugged the lion cub, and said quietly, "Go, little one. Be strong, like a real lion." Simba licked his hand as if saying goodbye, and followed Layla. Musa, Amina, and their children stood watching as the lion cub disappeared through the center's gates. Tears glistened in Amina's eyes, but she smiled, knowing that Simba would have a chance at a new life. Several months passed. The rangers sent a photo. Simba, now grown up, was running around the fenced area of the center, his fur glistening in the sun. Musa hung the photo on the wall in the living room. Every time he drove through the Kilindi savannah, he would stop, look at the endless expanse, and smile. Somewhere out there, in the heart of the savannah, lived a lion who remembered the warmth of his hands. This story is about love that saves and hope that lives on, even after goodbye. Thank you for reading it. If it touched your heart, share it, and subscribe to learn more stories about people and animals connected by an unbreakable bond.